Does anybody know what year it is? Because I would have sworn it was 2022 again here inside the Golden One Center with the way the Sacramento Kings offense was playing. Vintage Kings led by vintage De'Aaron Fox, who was getting to the rim at will. And finally, the three-point shot was falling for Sacramento. The Kings dominate the Phoenix Suns 127-104. And you are listening to Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all season long. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season off with a big return on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC 10 News. And tonight was the fun that we needed here in Sacramento. Not just because it came off of that terrible 20-point loss to the San Antonio Spurs, which, by the way, I don't know if you know, Victor Wembanyama went for 50 tonight, and he was the fastest player in NBA history to do it. He did it in just 26 minutes. The man scored 50 points. So now maybe the Kings and you and I shouldn't feel so bad about how Wemby dominated the Sacramento Kings the other night. But that's the past. The reality is the Kings have taken on the Phoenix Suns, who are one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And yes, I know Kevin Durant didn't play in either game, and I know Bradley Beal didn't play tonight, but you got to play the team that's in front of you. The Kings only had DeMar DeRozan for half of this game. We'll get into that in a little bit. And they dominated Phoenix 2-0 against the Suns so far to start this season. The Kings up to their 7th win of the year, 7-5 on the season now. Just a really good, really fun, really needed offensive performance from the Sacramento Kings. I'm not kidding. It looked like 2022-2023, the season where the Kings ended the playoff drought, when Sacramento had the best offense that season, and at the time, the best offense in NBA history. The Kings shot 50 of 78, 64% from the field. And here is the glorious number that I've been waiting all season to say. The Kings, 15 of 28, 53% from three-point range. Oh my God, it was glorious. Glorious to see the Sacramento Kings hitting shots. The long ball was so meant to be tonight for the Kings that a Kings fan actually hit a half-court shot to win a Toyota Tacoma tonight. That's how much it was like the basketball gods throwing the Kings an olive branch. All right, Sacramento, you can make some three-point shots tonight. And everybody was hitting, including Kings fans from half-court. It was that kind of night. And a number that I love that should be talked about more, 38 assists. You had 38 assists on 50 made baskets. The ball was moving tonight. And it goes to something that Kings assistant coach Doug Christie talks a lot about. I had the pleasure of being able to work with Doug for a couple of years when he worked with Sacktown Sports 1140 Radio before he transitioned into television and then transitioned into his role with the Sacramento Kings as an assistant coach, right? And one of the things that Doug Christie would always say, I think he would talk about all the time, is the ball has energy, right? And when the ball has energy and it's being moved around, teammates feed off of that. And from the get-go tonight, just something looked different with the Kings, right? The ball had energy. The movement was quick. It was decisive. The ball was flying around. Everybody was touching it. And the Kings were knocking down shots in rhythm. It's the best ball movement for sure that we've seen from the Sacramento Kings so far this season. 38 assists attest to that. And it all starts with De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox looked like he was 23, 24 years old again, right? Not that that was that long ago. The dude's only 26, 27 years old. But De'Aaron Fox looked spry, fast, agile, quick, confident, whatever word you want to use. This was a vintage De'Aaron Fox performance. The best he has moved all season long. He's had better numbers. He's had better scoring nights so far to start the season. But De'Aaron Fox has not moved better than he did tonight at any point this season. And I can't remember genuinely the last time that De'Aaron Fox moved this well. He had 29 points on 11 of 17 shooting from the field. He shot 1 of 2 from three-point range. So De'Aaron Fox took 15 shots inside the three-point arc. Now, I am not a believer in De'Aaron Fox should stop shooting threes. I know his three-point percentage to start the season isn't good. It's like 27%. It's probably creeped up a little bit now that he went 50% tonight. But it's not good, right? But De'Aaron Fox is a much better three-point shooter than what he's shown. Now, I talked about this a lot last season. I do not believe that De'Aaron Fox should be primarily a three-point shooter. I still think the best version of De'Aaron Fox and the best version of the Sacramento Kings is De'Aaron putting the ball on the floor, trying to get to the basket and trying to attack the basket, and that's what we got tonight. So the fact that you got 29 points and only 3 of them came off of three-pointers, really great from Fox tonight, but he also had 6 rebounds, 10 assists, so we got the double-double, and so many of those assists came off of spray threes, which is a pillar of Mike Brown's offense, which is you get the ball down into the paint, the defense collapses, and you spray it out to the open three-point shooter. De'Aaron Fox did that a number of times tonight. In fact, his 10th assist was a perfectly executed spray three, where he attacked the basket, defense collapse, he sprays out to Kevin Huerter, who was wide open from three-point range. And I'm ready to sing the praises of Kevin Huerter some more here tonight. Going to talk about him in the next segment. De'Aaron also had, he and Domantas Sabonis had a possession where I think it was the best two-man game that we've seen the two of them run. De'Aaron moves the ball to Sabonis, who was relatively open from three-point range, decides to pass it up. De'Aaron tries like a backdoor off-ball cut. Sabonis bounce pass hits him. Defense collapses. De'Aaron wraparound pass right back out to Domantas Sabonis, who has all the time in the world from three-point range, and he knocks down the three-point shot. That two-man game between those two was beautiful to see. But Fox was at the center of everything the Sacramento Kings were doing right offensively tonight. He also had a couple of steals and a block. The Suns could not stop him. Did not matter what they did, right? And there are good defenders in this NBA that have given Fox trouble in the past. But when Fox plays this way and he has this kind of energy and fluidity and looks this spry and looks this quick, good luck anybody and everybody, even if you're one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. It is impossible to try and handle De'Aaron Fox when he is like this tonight. And the Sacramento Kings need more of this. What I hope is this wasn't just a version of De'Aaron Fox that we saw because the Kings came off of a bad loss in San Antonio and Fox was maybe had an energy drink before the game and he was just feeling a little more energetic. This is the De'Aaron Fox that the Kings need on a nightly basis. It doesn't mean he's always going to score 29 points. But the way that Fox played, the way that Fox moved tonight, assuming he stays healthy, this is how De'Aaron Fox should be moving and needs to be moving on a nightly basis. I asked De'Aaron Fox about Doug Christie's ball has energy philosophy and what was different about tonight. And here is what Fox said after the game. Doug Christie has shared with us before, he feels like the ball has energy. He talks about that a lot. And it seemed like even before the shots were falling tonight, the ball was zipping around and moving around a lot. Is it something noticeably different tonight with the ball movement? I know you talked about like the sprays and everything, but what was different about the energy with coming out of the gate with you guys tonight?
Like I said before, I think it's the way that we touch the paint. I think getting 2 feet into the paint and then you spray. Sometimes it might not be that person that takes a shot, but now the defense is in rotation and it could be, swing, someone else touches the paint, swing, shot. Whenever we're playing, we're not playing to get the assist. If that person has a shot, they take it. If they don't, they move it on, and you keep the defense in constant rotation. And I think that's when you start to get open looks. And, obviously everybody knows it's much easier to stand there, catch the ball and shoot than it is to obviously have to run off a screen or have to do it by yourself off the dribble. So if we're able to do that, if we're able to create advantages and then play off of that, I feel like, it makes those shots much easier.
So now we have to address another element of this conversation. And I can almost guarantee you that some of you are going into the comment section right now going, Matt, the Kings looked their best and the ball moved the best that it has so far this season. And DeRozan only played half the game and only took 2 shots. DeMar DeRozan played 17 minutes tonight, played the first half, left at halftime, did not return with lower back soreness or like a lower back strain. So the Kings erring on the side of caution with him. Absolute right decision. DeMar took 2 shots during that first half. Alan Stiles from Sacktown Sports 1140 had a really good observation. And I think on the surface it sounds negative, but when you talk about it and break it down, it's really not. DeMar DeRozan took 2 shots. The ball movement was better and more fluid, and more guys were getting shots and touching the ball than at any point during this season. That's not a coincidence, right? The way DeMar DeRozan plays, he is a slow it down, half-court, ISO, mid-range scorer, and it's worked wonders for the Sacramento Kings at times. That being said, it slows things down, and the Kings playing with energy and playing quick and backdoor cuts, off-ball cuts, moving the ball having energy tonight. We saw more of that because DeMar was shooting less and because DeMar was playing less. But here's the thing. It does not have to be inherently negative, and do not fall into the trap, the easy trap of going, see, this is the fit concern with DeMar DeRozan. He does one thing while the rest of the offense needs to do something else in order for the Kings to be effective. No. What the Kings need to do is find the right balance, because DeMar is still essential. And think back again to the last couple of seasons when the Sacramento Kings would be forced into half-court offense and would be forced to try and go and get a bucket when the ball movement was slowed down or team defense, their opponent's defensive physicality picked up, or they got late in the shot clock, or whatever the circumstance, or in the playoffs, right? When the ball movement was slowed down a little bit and the Kings weren't moving as well and the ball didn't have as much energy as it should have, the Sacramento Kings really struggled. DeMar is here to help with that. I do think it is fair to say that maybe the Kings have been a little too over-reliant on DeMar DeRozan at times to start this season. But you also have to remember, again, even though DeMar DeRozan took 2 shots, he played 17 out of the first 24 minutes of this game. And the Sacramento Kings were playing really, really well offensively throughout this entire game. That means the Kings were moving the ball well with DeMar DeRozan on the floor for 17 minutes. It's not like the Kings offense was struggling again. DeMar sat out the second half, and then the Kings offense all of a sudden awoke and got going, right? So it's not one versus the other. It's a balance of the two. So how can the Kings replicate the energy and the ball movement from tonight while also incorporating the lethal mid-range offense of DeMar DeRozan? It's possible. They have to figure out how to incorporate it better. And look, it's only 12 games. We're only 12 games in, right? 7 plus 5, 12? Yeah, we're only 12 games in. So there's still time for them, of course, to work that out and figure that out. I'm not panicking by any means. And DeMar, by the way, even though he only took a couple of shots, DeMar had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. So it's not like he wasn't affecting the game in other ways, too, during the 17 minutes that he was playing. Like I said at the top of the show, today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything that you need to place live bets on the NFL, the NBA, MLB, NHL, college sports, all of it, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the exact same page where you place your bets. All the information you could possibly want right there in front of you. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. Again, you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. So put that $5 on a easy win. Hell, put the $5 on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They might never lose. They're playing so well. It's all on FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. How freaking great is Kevin Huerter playing right now? Kevin Huerter, I know he struggled versus San Antonio, but everybody struggled versus San Antonio. Kevin Huerter has been awesome to start this season. Awesome. Tonight, 22 points. I think it's his first 20-point game of the season. 9 of 16 from the field, 2 of 6 from three-point range. What do I love about that? He made 7 other baskets inside the three-point line. He was attacking the basket, getting to the rim, scoring in the paint, making the right decisions. Kevin Huerter was fantastic scoring the basketball. But on top of that, what Kevin Huerter has been doing so well this season is being more than just a shooter and more than just a scorer. 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. It is his third straight game with 3 steals. I don't know what has changed with Kevin Huerter, but he is playing the passing lanes so freaking well because even if he's not getting steals, he is getting a boatload of deflections. The Kings have challenged everybody. And this is kind of an example of where the modern NBA is, right? The modern NBA, you need to have two-way players, right? Look at the Boston Celtics and their team last year, right? You need to have guys that are able to play and make impact, have an impact on the game on both sides of the ball. Kevin Huerter is answering that call for the Sacramento Kings. And I've said it before and I'll say it again because I have no problem being wrong or calling myself an idiot or pointing out where I was and where I'm at right now. Because I said many times going into this season when Kevin Huerter was still fighting for this starting spot that he has completely secured at this point, right? No disrespect to Keon Ellis or Malik Monk or anybody else on this roster. That starting spot belongs to Kevin Huerter. He has completely put that under wraps. It is not even a question anymore. I said that if Kevin Huerter wasn't making shots, he wasn't giving you anything else. Couldn't be more wrong with how Kevin Huerter is playing this season. And what I love about this is not only did Kevin battle back from shoulder surgery and the injuries that he dealt with at the end of last year and having to rehab and everything this summer and not going through training camp and everything. Not only did he go through that, remember before Kevin Huerter got hurt, it was an awful season for him last year, right? He was in his own head. He wasn't shooting well. He wasn't making any kind of impact outside of scoring the basketball. Kevin Huerter was really, really bad last season. So the fact that he's overcome the injury and the adversity of the way that he's played last season, and he has absolutely taken this season by storm so far, phenomenal. If this is what Kevin Huerter can be, I'm not talking about the 22 points. I'm talking about the multiple assists, all the deflections, rebounds, and assists on a nightly basis in addition to not just his scoring numbers, but the scoring threat that he is when he's out there. If this is what Kevin Huerter is this entire Kings season, Sacramento is in fantastic shape with their starting two-guard spot, especially when they have an asset and a weapon like Malik Monk when he gets healthy again, coming off the bench as their sixth man. I'm happy to sing the praises of Kevin Huerter. I've been so freaking impressed by him. And I was really impressed tonight by the Kings bench. Where are the Trey Bays at? Where are my Trey Lyles fans at? I said, like, it might have been the San Antonio game. I said a breakout performance, a redemption performance for Trey Lyles is coming. There's no way how much Trey Lyles has struggled to start this season. And again, he missed all of training camp too with a groin injury, I think. So he didn't play in preseason or training camp either. He was really struggling to start this season, but we know Trey Lyles is so much better than the way he's been playing. Trey Lyles tonight was shooting with freaking confidence, and like everybody else, the ball was going in. 13 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 5 from three-point range, also had 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Trey Lyles having a fantastic game for the Sacramento Kings. You love to see it. When Trey Lyles is on, the Kings are typically winning basketball games. Then you have Jordan McLaughlin, who has stepped in and gotten a lot of the minutes that Malik Monk has left behind with that second unit with Malik being out. Jordan McLaughlin, 11 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from three-point range. I thought McLaughlin and Trey Lyles were both instrumental in Sacramento's third quarter, where they started the third quarter off very badly. They were on the wrong side of a 10-3 run where their decent lead turned into a 2-point deficit, and then the Kings dominated the rest of the third quarter, and Trey Lyles and Jordan McLaughlin were a big part of that. McLaughlin also had a rebound, an assist, and a steal in tonight's game. Then you have Keon Ellis, 9 points, 4 of 5 from the field, 1 of 1 from three-point range. He started the second half in place of the injured DeMar DeRozan, also had a couple rebounds and a couple blocks. Keon Ellis just doing what he does. When Keon Ellis is on the floor, typically good things are happening for the Kings. Sacramento, who's had one of the worst and lowest scoring benches in the league, period, so far this season, got 46 total bench points tonight. Now, to be fair, Some of that number was boosted a little bit and inflated by when the Suns emptied the bench. So did the Sacramento Kings over the last 3 minutes of this game. So Colby Jones, Mason Jones, Isaac Jones, the three Joneses got into the game. Alex Len got in the game. The Kings emptied the bench late, which is good, so they could give some rest to some of their top guys who've been playing a lot of minutes so far. And those guys helped inflate that number a little bit, but bench points are bench points, and getting 46 total bench points is fantastic for the Kings. Now, not to get greedy, because the Kings still won by 23 points. So they won pretty comfortably. This should have been a blowout. This game should have been a blowout. I'm really pleased with how the Sacramento Kings responded to the Suns' runs, because the Suns opened the third quarter and the fourth quarter with some pretty significant runs to make a game of it. The Suns scored 8 unanswered points to start the fourth quarter to cut the Kings' lead down to 5 or something. And then the Kings responded and ended up blowing the Suns out. So I'm pleased with the Kings with that. I'm also pleased with how well the Kings did getting out in transition. 22 fast break points, and they had 62 points in the paint, right? The Kings dominated Phoenix. And the fact that Phoenix shot in the 30% from both three-point range and from the field, really, really good for Sacramento. Sacramento's defense was really good tonight and is going to get overshadowed a little bit because of the three-point shot and their shooting being so good. That being said, 2 areas that the Kings have actually been really solid in this season so far, they were not good tonight. The Kings turned the ball over 17 times, leading to 29 points for Phoenix. Kings take better care of the basketball, especially in that first half. Kings blow the you-know-what out of the Suns. Not even close, right? On top of that, the Phoenix Suns, 18 second chance points on 19 offensive rebounds. So the Kings, in the first half especially, did not do a good job on the defensive glass, and that allowed the Suns to hang around. Thank God the Suns didn't find a way to end up stealing this game and win this game, because that would have been brutal considering how well the Kings offense was playing. But if the Kings offense has a night like this where Sacramento takes care of the basketball, rebounds the basketball at the level that they've been so far this season, at the level we expect them to, the Kings win this game by 30-plus points. Absolutely. Because they were that good defensively, that good offensively, and they're that difficult to stop when they're rolling the way that they are tonight. Still have to talk about Keegan Murray, who won the Defensive Player of the Game crown tonight. Want to talk about Domantas Sabonis, who had a very unusual kind of night, but still some great numbers from him and a bad number too. And I don't know if you saw, but Davion Mitchell, former Sacramento King with the Toronto Raptors, is now wearing De'Aaron Fox's shoe as part of the Curry brand. I asked De'Aaron about that at the end of his press conference tonight, and he chatted with me about it a little bit. I have that audio for you here coming up in the final segment of the show. Before that, though, today's episode of Locked On Kings is brought to you by Mint Mobile. With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price that you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk, and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone numbers along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. $45 upfront payment is required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Apparently, Mike Brown had a hard time deciding who got the Defensive Player of the Game crown tonight. He said Kevin Huerter easily could have got it for his 3rd straight game with 3 steals and other guys and their good defensive impact. But he ended up giving it to Keegan Murray because Keegan had primary responsibility of guarding Devin Booker. And look, with no Kevin Durant and no Bradley Beal, Devin Booker you would expect to be the guy and the guy to cook you and look to get his numbers. Devin Booker had just 18 points on 6 of 16 shooting tonight, 5 assists, and 3 turnovers. Keegan wasn't the only guy guarding Booker, but he guarded Booker a majority of the time, made Booker work, and that's the best you can do against a player as lethal as Devin is. The Kings won this game in a major way, too, because of how Sacramento and Keegan was able to limit Devin Booker. On top of that, Keegan had 17 points, 7 of 11 shooting from the field. He got going 3 of 5 from three-point range, 4 rebounds, and a block. He was a game-high plus 25 tonight. So an excellent game for Keegan Murray. Domantas Sabonis nearly had a triple-double. 11 points on 3 of 4 shooting from the field. Only 4 shots for Domantas Sabonis? That's pretty crazy. He was 3 of 3 from three-point range, which you love to see. All of Domantas Sabonis' points outside of the free throws that he hit came from three-point range. All 3 of Sabonis' field goal makes were from beyond the arc, which is pretty cool. Did have 10 rebounds to keep his double-double streak alive, had 9 assists. He did turn the ball over 7 times. Now, there was a play in the first half where Sabonis was trying to work in the low post, and the Suns double-teamed him, and I swear they were trying to punch at the ball, and they were whacking the crap out of him, and he was not getting the foul call, poor guy. And we know Sabonis is used to getting hit, especially in the head, every single night. I don't know if he got hit in the face tonight, so that's progress. But Sabonis didn't have his most prolific of scoring nights, but he was still solid. He was fine. Other guys had it going, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And I want to point out, Domantas Sabonis had some really good rim protection moments tonight. He ended with 1 block, but he changed a couple shots at the rim. And I was paying attention to that because, funny enough, I was listening on the way into the game tonight. I went back to a roundtable podcast that I did with the Deuce and Mo podcast. And by the way, I think Deuce, I don't know if, definitely Deuce, I don't know if Mo's going to be joining him or not, but the plan is to have at least Deuce Mason on the podcast tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him again. But I went and listened back to a roundtable that I did with Deuce and Mo, Frankie Cardicelli, and Brendan Nunez from Sacktown Sports 1140. And one of the things we were talking about was Sabonis' defense. We did this back in the offseason, like months before training camp began. And it's pretty crazy to go back and listen to that and hear how bang on we were talking about stuff that now we're seeing being played out. But one of the things we were kind of debating was Domantas Sabonis as a defender, because a lot of people think to be a good defensive center, you have to be a rim protector. And Sabonis isn't really much of a rim protector, and he's not. But he had really solid rim protection moments tonight where the Kings got beat on the perimeter and the Suns tried to get downhill. I thought Sabonis moved his feet well, defended without fouling, blocked a shot, made sure he was not in the restricted area. So I was paying attention to that, and I saw some good moments from Domas as a rim protector. When we were talking to De'Aaron Fox postgame, a couple nights ago, someone posted a video of Davion Mitchell playing in De'Aaron Fox's shoes. It was the blue, I don't know what they're called because I'm just not that much of a sneakerhead. But it was De'Aaron Fox's blue shoes with like kind of the orange fox that kind of straps over. Fox is part of the Curry brand. And we saw that, and so this was our first opportunity to talk to Fox, so I asked De'Aaron about Davion wearing his shoes, and De'Aaron had a pretty fun answer.
Hey, Fox, quick first one. I don't know if you saw. Did you see Davion Mitchell wearing your shoes?
Yeah. Funny enough, so and this was even before I got the shoe, I told Davion he needs to switch shoes anyways, start wearing Curry brand, and mainly it was because of like the bottoms, and I'm like, whenever he was playing in like Kobe's and GTs, he was sliding. I'm like, Davion, you play hard and you stop too hard. I'm like, just put the shoes on. I said, just try it. And he never tried it while he was here. And then he played in them once, one of the first games in the year. And then he texted me and he's like, yo, send me everything that you're not wearing. So all right, so Miggy boxes up everything that's like not PEs, and then he started wearing them. And then obviously I got my shoes, so he got a pair of those. But he loves the product, and I like I told y'all before, and I'm like, bro, I'm not lying because I signed to the brand. I'm like, there's a reason that I signed to it, and I'm glad he's doing it for sure.
Fox also shared with us after the game his favorite in-season tournament courts that he's seen so far. He's a big fan of the Golden State Warriors court. Is a big fan of the Philadelphia 76ers court, which I thought was crazy because that blue court gave me a freaking headache when I watched it the other night. Not a fan of the Boston Celtics court, which is interesting because his favorite color is green, but he did not like the Celtics green court. And I bring all that up because we're going to see the Kings in-season tournament court in this building on Friday. The Kings' first NBA Cup in-season tournament game against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a rematch of opening night. Will be here inside the Golden One Center. The Kings court is primarily gray. I love this court way more this year than I did last year's court, so I'm very, very happy with it. Looking forward to seeing it in person. Hopefully the Kings can avenge their loss to the T-Wolves at the beginning of the season that, in my opinion, should have been a win. We know the Kings gave up like a 20-7 run in the third quarter that erased their lead and then put them in a hole that they just couldn't climb out of. So hopefully the Kings can repeat what they did last season, which is win their group and hopefully make a deeper NBA Cup run this season than they did last season. So that's the first of another back-to-back. My God, the Kings are playing so many back-to-backs so far to start this season. Another back-to-back. The Kings play Friday, and then they play on Saturday night here in the Golden One Center too. But this 4 or 5 game homestand is off to a good start, which is great to see for the Kings. A great win tonight over the Phoenix Suns. Just a fun night, a needed night, I think, for all of us. And I look forward to hopefully DeMar DeRozan getting back with the Kings and to see how they can better balance and combine the DeRozan isolation mid-range scoring with the ball movement that we saw tonight. Because if this is who the Kings can be on a nightly basis offensively, good luck the rest of the league. But we've seen it. We know it's possible. Now we just need to see it more. Appreciate your support as always. Can't wait to have you join me on the next episode of the Locked On Kings podcast, hopefully with Deuce and maybe Mo tomorrow. Until then, my name is Matt George. You've been listening to Locked On Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.